Dear Muslims, dear believers, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu an Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayda salah. Hayda salah. Hayda al-falah. Hayda al-falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
Bismillah, ar-Rahman, ar-Rahim, alhamdulillahi, rabbil alameen, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi azza wa jalla. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. Ayyuhal muslimun. For God's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, the perfect praise belongs to God, the guardian revolver, the cherisher, keeper, sustainer of all the worlds, of all systems of knowledge. We render all praises to him, and we seek his help, and we ask his forgiveness. We put our complete faith and trust in him. Mighty and sublime is he. I bear witness that there is nothing worthy of worship except Allah alone, the one and only. There is none like unto him. And I bear witness that Prophet Muhammad is Allah's servant, messenger, prophet to all of mankind. We ask Allah's peace, his blessings, his highest exaltations be upon Prophet Muhammad, upon his family, his companions, the righteous all. On you, O Muslims, be peace. We greet you with the beautiful language of the Quran. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Al-Mubadda. And what follows of this excellent salutation or salute to our Prophet Muhammad, the prayers and the peace be on him. Dear Muslim, I advise you as well as myself to fear Allah and obey Allah. Have taqwa. Have the highest regard for God and obey God. Dear believers, our talk for this Jummah khutbah or lecture is Allah is the restorer of forms. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is God, the sacred and the mighty, says in his holy book, the Quran, truly strong is the grip and power of your Lord. It is he who creates from the very beginning, and he can restore life. Sadiq Allahu Atim. Allah the Mightiest spoke the truth. As we proceed with this khutbah for today, we would be remiss if we didn't say that we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for blessing us to be alive and well, and to be able to attend the Salatul Jummah. And we would not want to take that or those things for granted when we can clearly hear and see what is transpiring all over the world, where there's turmoil, and there's turmoil and oppression. You know, and Allah says in the Quran that turmoil and oppression, a lot of confusion, etc., is worse than death. So we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for blessing us to be in this humble abode and to answer his call, to obey him. And that's a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the ayat that we read from the Quran, we read that ayat from the Quran because we want to address both or two things. restitution and restoration. They sound similar and they have similar meanings, but they at the same time they're different. Restitution and restoration, particularly for us African Americans or black people. They don't use those terms for other people. We've heard this term restitution. When we go to the seerah, or the life example of Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, prayers and peace be on him, we'll see through his whole life that the Prophet didn't beg and did not like to borrow money unless it was absolutely necessary. He didn't beg and he didn't want to borrow. He told his followers, if you have to borrow, only borrow from a virtuous person. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam knew that when you borrow, you become obligated to whoever lent you the money. Am I being real clear? It's going to come together, inshallah. He, the Prophet, peace be upon him, he only borrowed money to help others who came to him in need, not for himself. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted to be obligated to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only, and he was. He would never allow himself to be obligated to anyone or anything except Allah. Remember, our subject is Allah is the restorer of form. I went to the Heritage Dictionary. That's a dictionary that Imam Muhammad used along with other scholars. And these two words, the first one, restitution, it says the act of restoring to the rightful owner something that has been taken away, lost, or surrendered. The act of making good or compensating for a loss. And then it says a restoration, the act of restoring the state, the act of restoring, the state of being restored. So there are those who say, and I'm sure you've heard it before, they say that African Americans or black people, descendants of slaves, deserve restitution for the suffering and the building of this country. You don't have to answer, but have you heard that before? They say because of what our foreparents have went through, the egregious and horrible behavior, etc. They are those who think and they subscribe to that the present African American people should receive restitution. But when I reflect, for real, what they said was this. You've heard this before. They said that they say that we were promised 40 acres and a mule after slavery. Now, I don't know where it comes from. I've heard this for a long time. They say that we as black people are due and promised 40 acres and a mule. But for real, I don't think most African Americans even know what an acre of land is. And that they would probably run from a mule. That's how unfamiliar we would be with those things. So I took the liberty to find out just what is an acre. I didn't know what an acre was. I've heard the term acre before. So it says an acre is 4,840 square yards, or 43,560 square feet. That's what an acre is. This for reference is, right? But I don't think most of us are familiar with those things. They didn't say those things. It wasn't said in sincerity. They ain't had no intention on giving us that or anything else. And the question is, based on the context of this talk, is that something that do we really need? Do we need restitution? That's the question. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, and render to your kin their due rights, and also to those in want, and to the wayfarer. But listen, this is important right here. But squander not your wealth in the manner of a spendthrift. For sure, spendthrifts are the brothers of the evil ones, and the evil one is to his Lord ungrateful. So spendthrifts, it says in the dictionary, one who squanders money, wasteful or extravagant. That's a spendthrift. Ungrateful, showing no gratitude, disagreeable, thankless. And you've heard this before in the street and you're coming up. You've heard the term, a fool and his money will soon part. You've heard it before? A fool, even before we heard this term about spendthrift and the colloquial language, street language, we've heard a fool and his money will soon part. And here's some examples. Look at those who hit the big jackpot lotteries. Look at the newly crowned ball players and entertainers, etc. They come into so much money at one time. They can't manage that kind of money coming to them like that. None of them can manage it. A lot of people, the entertainers, matter of fact, I heard one entertainer, after he was in the business for so long, he learned that from somewhere that the first money that you make, you blow that. But after you've been around for a while, you don't do that no more, because they can't manage that money, that kind of big money when it comes in. You know what they buy. They buy homes big for them. They buy 2 or 3 cars, you know. They buy great big old watches and rings, you know. It's just too much for them. That's a spendthrift. They become spendthrifts and ungrateful to God. The lottery, a lot of people don't really pay that no mind, but the lottery is gambling. And gambling is a major sin in Al-Islam. And it's a major sin in all of the heavenly religions. Christianity, Judaism, etc. is a major sin. Now we're talking about restitution and restoration. And you take a picture of this right here. Look at the pitiful condition of many of our people standing on the corners, smoking, drinking, cursing, begging, trying to make it from day to day. These people are undisciplined and irresponsible. Imagine this. These same people, if they come into some big money, they will become more crazy than they were before they got it. They'll become crazy because they can't handle that. They can't handle a certain amount of large sums of money. Why is that? They can't handle it because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the restorer of forms. Our people, African American black people, need to be cleaned up mentally, spiritually, and physically. They need moral discipline. That's what the Nation of Islam during the time of the Imam Muhammad did. He cleaned us up. We didn't come from the street, the life that we was living, and how we was carrying on, the ignorant behavior that we had, living in the dark world, and all of a sudden become good, strong Muslims. We didn't do that. We went through programs, a process of turning our lives around. And part of it was physical cleaning too. We came in there, some of us came in there dirty, trifling, dirty fingernails, dandruff in our heads, dirty clothes. None of that was allowed in the Nation of Islam. And if you stayed there, stuck with it, 6 months, a year, you was cleaned up. You was cleaned up. When they saw you again, they couldn't recognize you. Your mouth had changed. You stopped cursing. You stopped drinking. You stopped smoking. All that happened. So what I'm saying is, this is the type of transformation that our people need. More than restitution. Because if they receive any kind of restitution, if they were in the condition that they're in, they wouldn't be able to handle it. If they came into big money, they buy more cigarettes. They buy more liquor. They do more prostitution. They do more gambling. Because nothing has taken place in the mind. There has been no restorer of forms, or the original form. The nature, the fitra, the pattern that God put us on, none of that has taken place with them. Won't make a difference. We are not beggars. The Honorable Muhammad told us to do for self. That's what Imam Tawaddin said last week. That's one of his main mantras. And he says all the time how much he benefits from that slip. We are not beggars. We were taught to do for ourselves and kind. Make sure that your brother and your sister, we were taught if you had a bowl of soup, one bowl, share it with your brother or your sister. If your brother or sister didn't have appropriate funds to do something, we should say, you can get it out of my brother's vest pocket. Meaning that you had $35, $40, and somebody in the community needed some money, you would share what you had with that person. We are not beggars. That's not our orientation. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said big things. He said, "Up, you mighty nation, you can accomplish what you will." He said, "You can accomplish what you will." As a nation, meaning as a group, as a body of people together, working together. And we did do that. We accomplished everything and every task we set out to accomplish, we accomplished those things. No matter how insurmountable they may appear, as a group who had that type of motivation and mentality to do for self and kind, we did that. Don't we need that now? look at the condition of our people now, how they've come down to, just generally speaking, a group of beggars. We didn't see that in our time, our era. We didn't see what we see now. People standing on every corner begging, all kind of people, women, men, children. We didn't see that because we had pride in ourselves and motivation in ourselves. We were being fed a language that made us be successful. James Brown said, "I don't want nobody to give me nothing. Open the door, I'll get it myself." So there was a show that James Brown did, and they asked Imam Muhammad if he wanted to meet him. He said, yeah, I want to meet him, because he came from Augusta, Georgia. He said, yeah, I want to meet him. So he went back behind stage, and James Brown was equally impressed to meet Imam Muhammad. And he was telling them about the songs he was singing, etc. So Imam Muhammad, so James Brown said, "I got that from your father, Abdulah Muhammad. The language, he got that from his father. You know, I don't want nobody to give me nothing. Open the door, I get it myself." So Imam said, well, he was happy surprised. Abdulah Muhammad influenced everybody. And the conditions that we see present now, we ain't had that kind of conditions in his lifetime. We ain't had that. None of us saw that. But those who are in power and control of the education system and the language, they try to hide the works of the Abdulah Muhammad. And the reason they do is, everything I'm telling you is relevant. The reason why they try to hide his works, because they see and they saw the effects of his programs. They saw it. It worked for Taliban. This program, anybody that got hold to what the Abdulah Muhammad taught and used it then and now, they're still using it. And they know that. And that's why they want to hide any real work of the Honorable Abdulah Muhammad. Now, that ain't to say that they won't give us other people. They appoint us to Malcolm. They didn't support Malcolm when he was living. When Malcolm was living, today they'd call Malcolm a terrorist. They'd call him a communist. They would call him anti-American. They didn't support him. But now they'll give us Malcolm, our brother. They praise Muhammad Ali. We love Muhammad Ali. They give the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he's given a big stage. They give him that stage. He don't make the stage. His fathers don't make the stage. The powers that be, they see how they can use his influence to manipulate the masses of the people. So they give him the stage. Hey, they can give you a stage, or they can take a stage from you. You know, that's true. Look at Bill Cosby. Look how long he's been on the stage, but he ain't on the stage now, because that's how they do it. If you play their game, they can't hurt you if you don't play their game. And you know, Imam Muhammad told us over and over again, that's why he ain't popular. That's why they didn't put him out there, because he would never play their game. He would never play any of the games that they had offered, the things to give him and the places to put him with. I remember one time they invited him to speak on a dais, platform down at the National Mall. We were having a fair. And I learned this from him, like I learned so many things from him. This is what he wanted to know. He said, who is going to be on the dais? Who's going to be on the platform? That's how particular he was. So they told him the names of the different people, and one person's name they mentioned was, they mentioned the Reverend Al Sharpton. He said, oh, no, I'll pass. Because they They never played none of their games. It wasn't Al Sharpton, but the games. And he wouldn't associate himself with anybody who didn't represent the principles that he had, etc., etc. But when they find out that you can be played with and be used, then that's when they will use you. Now, they are very aware, the powers that be, the people who run this world, they are very aware that Imam Muhammad, Abdulah Muhammad's son, is the projector, meaning that he brought us the guidance. They had no concern about the Nation of Islam. We was more concerned about them. They saw our doctrine, they saw our movements, and they knew what the Honorable Muhammad was teaching us was no threat to America. They knew that. But when his son came in office, Imam Muhammad, they knew that he brought the true religion, that he brought out Islam, the true religion. And that's where their concern is. That's their concern. They weren't concerned about the Nation of Islam. They weren't concerned about the Black Panthers, SNCC, and CORE. They could contain all that, and they could eradicate it when they got ready to, and they did. But they was concerned about anybody who could bring Islam to this country, true Islam, not radicalism, not all. They know the difference, and they know the effects that it will have on anybody, especially African Americans, because they know the most sincere people in their heart are African Americans, more sincere than anybody, because the atrocities that happened to us, and still, after all they say that they did to us and our people, we still love the white man. You gotta be a compassionate nigga. You got to be. So they know that if African Americans are given Alice Nap, it'll turn the whole life around. And guess what? It won't be profitable to them, because they're concerned with money. They're concerned with controlling the minds of the people. They want to have an effect on the heart and the souls of people. That's what they want to do. And they know the only thing can do it. The only thing can do it. They know it's Al-Islam, true Islam. They know it. So they keep the Abdulah Muhammad, and anybody who is associated with him that will make it necessary or accessible to our people to come in contact with that message, with that program, because they've seen it with their own eyes. Nothing, look, the military can't change them. They go in the military, they come out perverts. They go into churches, they come out perverts. They come out extorters and embezzlers, money launderers. But they go in that Nation of Islam under Elijah Muhammad and come out, and you can't get them to take $1,000 off of your desk when you go upstairs. You can't get them to say one word out of their mouth of profanity. And most of them that came in that period never saw Elijah Muhammad, never even saw him. Just heard his message. Malcolm was in the penitentiary, never even saw the man. But when he heard that language, he, oh, buddy. And he was known as a notorious hustler, no more than a lot of us might have been, but he became famous. Chicago Reds. He never saw Elijah Muhammad, and he heard the brother in there telling him about that program. And he said, oh yeah, I want that. And he came out and became the most prolific leader and minister for Elijah Muhammad. So they know what he can do. But they ain't got nothing else like they can do that. The church can't do it. The military can't do it. The schools can't do it. They can't do it. Why? Because they don't have the moral fiber. They don't have the moral discipline, where if you're either going to be a Muslim and follow the program or you're not. You can't fake it. You're gonna clean yourself up, clean your behavior up. You're gonna respect your wife like you're supposed to, respect your husband like you're supposed to, respect your children the way you're supposed to. You're gonna tell somebody you're gonna do something and you're gonna do it. You're gonna be on time. All these things are in place. But if you're weak, you ain't gonna be able to do it. You come in, hear it, you'll see it, come in for a while, and you go right on back on the street again. And that's okay, because we can't use you. But the strong ones, they come in there 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and then you can't give them none of the world. You can't give them none of this world. After that, they done already been out there and seen all that. You can't offer them nothing. So the point I'm making to you is, it's not restitution that they're concerned about. They don't want our people to come in contact with this message of Al-Islam, starting with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's what they don't want. That's the main thing they don't want. And they will use every type of scheme and all types of media. And you think it's a small thing. No, they have a plan. They don't want Al-Islam in this country, especially if somebody get hold to the moral discipline and the ethics that we were taught. Let's pray for forgiveness. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. And how we learn that? We didn't learn that from nowhere. And we didn't learn that from the Nation of Islam. We didn't learn that until Abdulah Muhammad passed. And his son came in the office and told us that. But they didn't know the continuity. So they can see the continuity. You can come out the street, come to the Nation of Islam, and then come to the Deen of Islam. And they don't, and had the most perfect character. So they know what it can do. Imagine 100,000 blacks in this neighborhood right here, changing their life around like we have done, like we offer them to do. Man, the liquor stores will go out of business. Their sales will go down so low. So low. I don't even go in them for nothing. So imagine 100,000 of me. How you gonna make money like that? How Newport 50-cent cigarettes? It's an epidemic. It's an epidemic now with Newport cigarettes. You either got to be selling them or you got to buy one. All day long, you got a single, a whole subculture of non-productive people. Stand on the corner. God, what the weather is, look, got a single, 50 cents. I got a pack, got packs and singles. Gotta come in the store. Packs and singles, packs and singles. Nigga, you ain't doing nothing. You sold a carton all day, you still ain't made no money. You can't tell them that though. Packs and singles, packs and singles, packs and singles. And one told me, you know, I don't smoke myself no more, I don't smoke no more. But you polluting everybody with it, and you think you have some consequence. Packs and singles, packs and singles. And the whole neighborhoods are hooked on that concept. Control. They're controlled by it. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad called the churches the ice houses. And Imam Muhammad said that they were the worst thing that could happen to black people. These things I heard. Why? Because of the baby language that they give our people. Baby language. Every week, every Sunday, churches are filled up. People come from all over the place. Parking lots are all filled up. They got the predominance of places where people are going for religious guidance. And yet, you see the same conditions. Same conditions. They got the greatest influence. The banks, the lending institutions make sure that they get all the financing that they want. You go in as a non-Christian, as a Muslim, you be struggling to try to get something, to build a masjid or a center. And that ain't bad neither, because we are not a begging people. We don't need their money to build no edifice for ourselves to make worship in it. We don't need that. We don't need none of their money. But they make sure that the Christian ministry gets all the money that they want. Every Monday, the reverend is coming. He putting money in there, bags of money in there. And when they go there for a loan, yes, Reverend, no problem. What you want to do now? Our congregation is so and so size. We need to add on. We need to build, and they get the money, and our people come out the same way they go in. Ignorant, lost, confused, misguided, because the reverends give them baby land. That's why they say it was ice houses. And that's why they say it was the worst thing ever happened to our people. That's why they said that. Most of our people, I hope that don't include you. Most of our people are just satisfied with the white man having everything. It's most of our people. They are satisfied with the white man having everything. I remember in our old lessons, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the white man took the best part of the earth for himself. Remember Abdulah? Mm-hmm. They took the best part for himself. What's that? Seneca Valley. What's the high tech place out there where they have all of the technical stuff and great big old money and do what they want to do. The Dave Zuckermans and all of them can do what they want to do. They can donate $100 million to this and to that. And our people, most of them, they are satisfied with the white man having everything. No competitive spirit. No, don't think that they even could have that. But that's not what Reginald Lewis did. If you go research Reginald Lewis, he became the most successful business acquisition African American of all times. He came out of Baltimore, Maryland, uneducated, was able to convince the people at Harvard. They let him enroll in Harvard with little or no money. He excelled, and he brought the Beatrice Company. Look him up, Reginald Lewis. And he was so shrewd that he had the whole deal negotiated by a Caucasian first. And then it was time to sign the deal, he came in and signed the deal. Reginald Lewis. And he wrote this book. That's why I'm telling you this. Hardback book, you may be able to find it, may not. He wrote this book entitled, Why Should White Men Have All the Fun? I got it somewhere. I hope I still got it. I read it all the way through. But that's how our people think. Our people think that the white man should have everything. And as a result, what have we got? We have become a well-fed people. A well-fed people being pacified with small material things, living off of handouts. You think this is a coincidence? This is just planned. This is by design. For you not to see any kind of way to pull your own self up. For you not to have any confidence in doing for yourself. And how did we do for ourselves back then? We did for ourselves back then because we had a prolific leader and we had trust and love for one another. That's how we did. We had respect for the shortest little person could be the minister, could be the captain, could be the lieutenant, male or female. You ain't question the captain because he was a short guy. The rules of law and discipline was still already in what we was doing. So when we had a project, the word went out. We are going to do X, Y, Z. Everybody moved together, right? Everybody moved and loved it, enjoyed it immensely, and the job got done. And the same thing is being done, and it can be not done right now. But our confidence as a people, our spirit as a people has been broken. So all we rely on now is begging and handouts, and trying to see where you can get a free turkey, who giving out free clothes, who giving out free transportation, how much I can get on my EBT card. Demoralizing. Kills your spirit. And not enough for us who are doing that despicable behavior, they are passing it down to their children. Their children see them begging. So they start begging at a very early age. It becomes a way of life. I hope I'm not telling you all anything that you don't see, that you don't realize, but it's devastating. So this is what Imam Muhammad said. He said that it's not restitution that we need. And I told you all the reasons why. Because if you give people more than they're able to handle, it won't do them no good. Without them having the proper ethics and the proper moral discipline, restitution won't do our people no good. But this is what he said. He said that, and that's what we've been talking about. He said that our people need to be restored. And brother, I won't take this personal, but since you came in late and you have a habit of coming in late, I'm going to tell you what the prophet said, not me. He said, those who come to the Jummah late, they hold Allah in very low esteem. Very low esteem. And if you don't hear the khutbah, then you haven't made Jummah. Because the khutbah is more important. It's 2 rakats education. See, Allah put it that way through the prophet. You have to be educated. So you come and you haven't heard the education, you haven't made the Jummah. So all you can do is you can make your salat, but that's not Jummah. Jummah is when you come and you sit and you listen to what the Imam is saying. 2 times. 2 times. And then, when it's time to make salat, then make your prayer. So the prophet, peace be upon him, by his action, he made, because you don't see the details in the Quran, how Jummah is to be taken out and prepared. Allah orders us in the Quran to do Jummah, but there's no details. The details come from Muhammad's life. And Muhammad's life made it imperative that you have 2 rak'ahs, and you have 2 sections of education first. So I didn't do that. Nobody did that. That's a demonstration of his life. And then you have prayer. So as an imam, I don't play favorites. And it's my responsibility if I see something that's not right in the community, and if I see my brother or my sister going wrong, then I have a duty to speak out on it. Because the prophet said that too, didn't he? He said, help your brother if you see him going wrong or right. Is that what he said? And they said, well, we know how to help him if he's going right. How do we help him if he's going wrong? And the prophet said, stop him from going wrong. So we have a duty. We have to speak out when we see these things happening. But what we're saying that because what Imam Muhammad is really saying, I'm paraphrasing. What we are saying is restitution won't do our people any good. Because of the conditions of their mind, it won't do them any good. But what he said is we need to be restored. And Allah is to restore. See, Allah is the restorer of forms. We weren't that way before we were messed up by this world. We didn't come out of our mother's wombs, those sinful people, or bad people, or people that were smoking, drinking, and gambling, whatever. We didn't come out that way. All of us came into the world as good, clean, innocent children. And when we got influenced by negative influences, wherever they may have been, in our households, or certainly into the street, that's when we got off of the natural path that God put us on. And depending on how old we are, that's how long we've been getting messed up. Not that it'll take a long time now, because you see children out here now, 10 years old, curse you out. make all types of derogatory remarks, don't have no respect for their parents, don't even know the concept of that. But certainly, the older you get, the more you practice these bad behaviors, that's the harder it's going to be for you to be restored. Restitution, somebody comes to give you a whole lot of money, that ain't gonna change your life. History has shown that's gonna make your life worse, because you're gonna try to figure out what more wrong, because you ain't doing right. So you're gonna try to figure out what more wrong can I do now with this cake I just came into. I just came into a big piece of cake. Now what I'm gonna do with this cake right now? I'm talking a language that we all know about. I'm gonna find out now who got the best reefer. I want the best reefer now, kind of when I'm getting that. I'm gonna get the biggest car. I'm gonna get me the finest everything I can get. All vices, because that's how you live it. But once you restore, once you come into the knowledge of doing what's right, and certainly when we come into the knowledge and we accept this, that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger, and we accept this, we have a firm faith. How we know we accept it? Because we live our life like that. That's how we live our life. And how we know we live in our life like that? We don't make no priority. We don't put nothing else in front of Allah, like Allah and his messenger. We don't see no importance, nothing being more important than for us to stay to that creed that there's no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. Now, you ain't gonna be successful until you do that. You may think you don't know why things are not going your way, or why you're not feeling the way you're supposed to feel. It's because you're not obeying Allah. Simple as that. And the consequence is your actions, and the benefits is what you get when you obey Allah. That's how you restore. You don't get restored because you come in and take the Kalim or Shadatain. That's the beginning of the process. You get restored when you start living it, and when you start not putting nothing in front of Allah and his messenger. Nothing. Not letting anything interfere with your practice of making your salat. That don't mean you ain't gonna make your salat every time, but your primary thing is you're not gonna let nothing be in front of that. You ain't gonna be successful as a Muslim unless you obey Allah and his messenger. Now, can you be successful as a criminal? Yeah, you can be successful as a criminal. But you can't be successful as a Muslim being a criminal. You can only be successful as a Muslim by doing what is required in the religion as a Muslim. And you can't come to belief. You can't come to belief until you do what Allah and his messenger say a believer does. It ain't gonna happen. And the minute you change, or I change my life around, like we did, like I did 42, 43 years ago, I was going this way right here, that direction right there. Wrong direction. Not to mention to any of us what I was doing, but it was wrong, it was corrupt. And when I heard a message that told me and showed me how to do what's right, I turned around the other way. And that's the way I've been going ever since. And for the most part, I ain't been having no problems. I ain't been having no problem with nobody. I had no problem with the police. The police, I'm a law-abiding citizen, so the police work for me. They don't stop me when I'm driving. They don't come nowhere and ask me no question about Mr. Abdulah, what's happening, what happened there. Why? Because they already know what you stand for. They know what you're about. They observe you. They study your life, and they got two choices. They can leave you alone or come around close to you and may have to wind up being good people their own self. And they're scared of that themselves because their life don't reflect the good moral principles. It don't reflect ethics. And that's not to talk down on the police. We ain't talking about that. We talking about the reality, how in the past it was 1 out of every 3 that had a criminal problem. And why? Because they weren't restored. They were dealing with superficialities. They get some big money back on their tax return, and that's a reason to go out and celebrate and do more wrong. So, in conclusion, we were talking about Allah is the restorer of forms. And can't nobody help us. Can't nobody restore it. Our condition, I ain't got to tell you, our people are in a pitiful condition. And we don't have no idea when we'll be able to come back to our natural intelligent self. But we can start with ourselves one by one. We can start by ourselves one by one and not give our mind over to this foolishness. And not let these people who are controlling everything, especially the educational system, especially the media, don't give your mind over to this stuff. Because most of it is a scheme, most of it is propaganda, and it's very meticulously woven, so you can't tell the fact from the fiction. What is our only hope? Our only hope is the guidance of Allah. If you are guided by Allah, then that's your hope. If you're not guided by Allah, and the reason why you're not being guided by Allah, that's the case, is because you're not seeking Allah's guidance. You're not seeking His guidance. How we know that? Because when you have a problem, you don't go to Quran and the Sunnah. You go to other books. You go to other people. You go to other things. So you're not seeking Allah's guidance. The only way we can get Allah's guidance is if we seek Allah's guidance. And if we seek Allah's guidance, Allah gonna give us His guidance. He gonna obligate Himself to do that. Anyone who calls on Allah, Allah is going to answer that one's call. He answers the call of every supplicant when he or she calls on Him. Now, in conclusion, I know there's no help but Allah. I'm firmly resolved. I'm resolved. There's nowhere else for me to go. There's nothing else for me to be but a Muslim. That's what I've been all these years, and every time they come and see me, I'm still doing the same thing. I haven't changed my demeanor. I haven't dropped my head down. I haven't felt in their presence sad or depressed or lost or lonely. Why? Because when you have Allah as your God and your guidance, and when Allah restores you, you can overcome all of that. So we don't need restitution, we need restoration. We don't need nobody to come and give us no big money. That ain't gonna happen nowhere. And we don't need to be going out and begging anybody. We don't need to beg anybody, whoever they are, for anything. We need to go back to what we've been taught, and we need to do for our own self. That's serious. I don't personally believe in begging nobody for nothing. I ain't going to no organization and tell them that we over here on Good Old Road and we got a small masala and we got XYZ people coming and we want to know, can you? I ain't gonna be doing that. No, I ain't gonna. The same one that blessed them with the bounty, the same one that will bless us with the bounty. I ain't giving them my plight. And because ultimately, a lot of times, they don't even care about your plight. Because if you're not standing on the same platform they stand on, you're not teaching the same language they're teaching, they ain't gonna give you nothing no way. And I already know this because I traveled with Imam Muhammad. Now you know how prolific he was and how sincere he was. He said, these people ain't gonna give us nothing. When we went to Saudi Arabia, they could have wrote a check, and the check been so big, we could have had a contract out there building something so fast and so big, you would have thought your head was swimming. But what they give him? They didn't give him nothing. Why? because he would not follow their paradigm. He would not teach what they wanted him to teach. He would not stop doing everything he could to help us, to restore us. He would not teach their language, and they would have funded him. They would have funded him. But he said, these people gonna give us nothing, and they didn't give him nothing, and they ain't gonna give our people nothing as African Americans going out, without having establishment ourselves, saying we want so X, Y, Z amount of dollars so we can build an Islamic community. I repeat, I ain't doing that. I'm not begging none of them or no man or woman for nothing. Because we make dua. This is my last statement. Remember, when you make dua, when you put your hands up like this, you are begging Allah only, and you want to be obligated to nothing except Allah. Nothing. And that's the prophet said, peace be upon him. If you have to ask somebody for something, he said, ask a virtuous person. We don't go out and ask criminals for money, and people that don't have no regard, respect for God, and etc. No, that's not who we ask for money. If we have to ask somebody for money, the prophet said, only ask a virtuous person. Well, let's make do. ربنا اتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين وعليكم السلام.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an Muhammadan Rasulullah, ashhadu Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayda salah, hayda salah, hayda salah, hayda salah. Got to come to salah, got to come to salah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Malik yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladhina an'amta 'alayhim ghayril maghdubi 'alayhim ولا الضالين.
آمين.
الله أكبر.
Allahu Akbar.
سمي الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر.
Allahu Akbar.
الله أكبر.
Allahu Akbar.
الله أكبر. الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
آمين.
قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر.
Allahu Akbar.
سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر.
Allahu Akbar.
الله أكبر.
Allahu Akbar.
الله أكبر.
Allahu Akbar.
الله أكبر.
Allahu Akbar.
alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.